Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of The Girls Lounge with your hosts, Liz and KT. And today's episode is going to be really exciting, especially if you are planning on going abroad soon or you're thinking about it. Today, Liz is going to be spilling all the tea, all the good facts, all that stuff about her study abroad experience. And I'm going to basically be interviewing her, and I'm excited for that. But yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I haven't looked at much of what Kennedy. I like skimmed through like what she had, so I'm going into this blind too. Make it a little bit more exciting. But I'm excited to talk about all this. Reliving where I was.
right? Finally, we'll get to hear her experience from beginning to end. But before we get into all that, of course, we're going to get into our little life update. So I don't know if you can really tell from this point of view, but my room is like completely done. I put some paintings up, and yeah, that was the like last main bit I needed to do and just organize a couple things. So it's all done, and I'm very happy about that. I literally just made a Snapchat story the other day to my friends. I was just like, my room just feels like a little oasis with like my windows open and stuff, and I love it. So yeah, I finished my room. There's like three things that still need to be taken care of technically, but it's like minor things. So I'm just happy to have, my room together finally. And then recently, this past weekend, I had a little day with my parents in Lexington, and it was really fun. Just did some shopping, got some crumble cookie, which low key I haven't gotten crumble cookie in a long time, so it was nice to have it again. And then I've just been watching the Cincinnati Open for the most part. I actually have it playing on my TV right now. Some good background noise. Been seeing some good tennis. Tennis matches are very long, so I like never really like sit there and watch it, but I always just like to have it on because sometimes I'll be doing my own thing, then I like pay attention for a couple of minutes and see what's going on.
Yeah, for me, I feel like I'm at the point where my weeks like do not feel real. Like when I sit here and I'm about to, do my little update where I've been, I'm like, where have I been? Because the week either goes by too fast or too slow, and it just like meshes into one. Like it feels like one long day to me where I did so much stuff. But as I was looking back on my week, I was in my Bob the Builder era. I'm currently in my fixer upper area. I've been helping my mom out with an apartment that she's fixing up on the inside and everything, and cleaning and moving furniture and building furniture. I think we're all done with like the building part, and now it's just the other day we were organizing, and it was just me and my mom like pushing these couches and like trying to get the rugs underneath of it, and we got it all set up. So now we're like this decorating, but decorating with the smaller stuff, the stuff that's not like manual labor that much. And then today, actually in the morning, I woke up early because I had a doctor's appointment, and I got a shot, and then I got my blood drawn for some blood works just to see like the last time I got my blood works done was before I went abroad, to just to see like how I'm doing now and everything. Hopefully my iron's up. I've been having some very low iron, but hopefully she's back on it and she's doing great. And the lady who like draws my blood, she does an amazing job. She immediately finds my vein, like zero problems. It's literally like in and out. She is done, which I do appreciate her. But yeah, that's all I've been up to this past week.
Nah, I feel that about the weeks just blending together, especially because now like all my trips for the summer are over. I'm just waiting, for school to start. And I like have to go back in my camera roll. I'm like, what did I do this week?
Exactly what I did. And the thing is, I feel like this week I wasn't taking that many pictures. So I had to like really sit there, and I was like, okay, what did I do? Because I know I did stuff, but I don't recall when or what, or yeah.
That's so real. But now we're gonna get onto our faves of the week. So mine is gonna be food related this week, and that is a grilled ham and cheese sandwich with some chips on the side. I don't know, randomly I was just like, I'm craving like eating sandwiches. So went to the store, got stuff to make sandwiches, and I just have been eating them up recently. And I've been loving them with either salt and vinegar chips on the side or sour cream and onion. Specifically Miss Vicky's brand.
Yeah, the Miss Vickies, that crunch, yeah, they know what they're doing with those chips. And I have to agree, a good like summer sandwich, it's like it's just so good. And then like in the fall season, like grilled cheeses and everything, yeah, I love me a good sandwich. People be hating on sandwiches, but they just don't be doing it right. You got to toast your bread a little bit, yeah. If you're not doing all that, No wonder you don't like sandwiches. And then my favorite of the week is on TikTok. I've been getting a lot of videos of like little crafts, and I've been saving a lot of these, and it's like little small like little it's literally just little crafts that I want to kind of like maybe start doing. Like my latest obsession, I was last week, it was a lot of like crafts with like old picture frames, like making a what's the name, a gallery wall, or like turning like cork boards and like that kind of vibe. But this week, and I think I really do want to do this, it's beaded flowers, and they look so pretty, and you can do it with like whatever flower you want. And I'm like, this is like Lego flowers but different, and they look super cool at the end. So we'll see if I actually end up doing it, and if I do, how they end up turning out, because it seems like a long process. But I'll update you guys whenever I hopefully finish a flower.
And now onto our pop culture. Honestly, going into this episode, I didn't think we were gonna have a pop culture section, but today there is some news that we saw that I feel like that's something me and Liz would talk about, and I literally just remembered. So if you saw me looking down earlier, that was me remembering and putting it down. So the first bit of news is allegedly Taylor Swift may be on the New Heights episode. I've been seeing all the, the little Easter eggs, rumors about it, and not. And I don't listen to that podcast, but like if Taylor Swift was on it, I would listen to it.
No, because suddenly that one episode has like a million of views and watchers and everything. Yeah, I have been seeing a lot of stuff about that. And I think it'd be very interesting just to see like the dynamic between obviously like her and Travis Kelsey, but also like her and then like the brother, and then how the two brothers interact with her and everything. I think that'd be like a cool little episode. I wonder like what all they would talk about, but yeah, I would definitely tune in. And I know everybody would, just to see what they say.
Yeah, and like Taylor Swift, I don't think she's like ever been on a podcast. I don't think she really does interviews. So it'd be really interesting to just see her in that light. And then I think she also posted something on Instagram today, like alluding to like a new era with like orange emojis and stuff. So people are also like speculating, like, what does that mean?
I did see that on Instagram, and then right after I started seeing like the thumbnail for like the new, like I think it's In the Heights is what the, or like Heights, New Heights, something with the word Heights is what the podcast is called. And then I think after that it's like when they dropped like the thumbnail, and it has like the outline of like what looks like to be a female in the middle. Yeah, I wonder if they're interconnected. Will she announce an album or something in this podcast episode? We'll discuss this next week, you guys.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure I called it New Heights earlier, but it is definitely In the Heights or whatever Liz said.
See, I said In the Heights, but then I was like, is that not the name of that one musical? But yeah.
And then the next bit of news, this is more just like fun news. So I woke up to see that the Jonas Brothers brought out Demi Lovato in their concert, and I'm just like, oh my god. And I didn't watch like the full clips, but I did watch a little bit, and just magical. Like inner child Kennedy is so happy right now.
No, because the scene in what's Camp Rock, I couldn't think of the name. The scene in Camp Rock where they sing the This Is Us song, that's iconic. And the way that they like sang that song, and it's their grown versions, it was so good. I haven't also seen the full thing, just the clips, but just for the clips I saw, I also was like, this was for us. This was for the people who grew up watching Camp Rock, because that scene when she like turns around and she like shows them who she is, and he's like, yeah, iconic.
Literally my favorite song from that series. Just so good. And I'm just like, what are we doing to get blessed? Like first we got the Lemonade Mouth, like little reunion. Now this, and then I saw another comment where apparently the new Wizards of Waverly Place spinoff is like coming out with season 2 soon, which I've been meaning to watch season 1, so maybe hopefully I can get it together before season 2.
Yeah, I also need to watch that show. From the little clips I saw of it, it didn't look bad, honestly. Like I know it didn't get like obviously the hype people thought, I feel like, but it didn't look bad. A quick little watch.
Yeah, I agree. From what I saw, like obviously it's not gonna be the same feel, but like it seemed pretty good, honestly.
And then one other thing I wanted to bring up is this past week the new Spider-Man little like we're filming post came out, and I am so excited. I texted Kennedy and I was like, I'm gonna be back in my Marvel era, because yeah, the movie, just from the little clips and like Tom Holland, he is looking really, really good. And obviously, they left us off on that cliffhanger of everybody forgetting about his existence, and we've been patiently waiting over the years. But yeah, they finally started filming, and I'm so excited. I will say, I think I expected it to come out like obviously it's not coming out this year. I thought it'd be like later, like 2027, but I think it said 2026 summer. So I am very, very hyped. I could be lying about the 2026, but I'm pretty sure it said 2026.
Yeah, just know I'll be sad. If you get in my way to getting a seat in that theater, you will be drop kicked. Like, I am so excited for the new Spider-Man. Like, Spider-Man, like, that is my series. I love that series. And I, like Liz said, like, it'll get me back into my Marvel era, hopefully. And I'm just so excited. Like, all you have to say is Tom Holland and Spider-Man, and I'm there.
Exactly what KT said. And I'm really hoping that they don't bring in bits and pieces from like whatever Marvel stuff has come out in recent times because I very much will be very confused.
Yeah, I haven't seen a single thing. I think the last thing that I've seen that's been like current was that Christmas show that came out with the guy who's the archer. I can't think of his name right now.
Oh, Hawkeye. Yeah.
Yeah,
I did
that.
watch that. Yeah, I'm behind.
And now we're gonna get into what we've been watching. So I have finished two shows. So I finished Amy Bradley is Missy. It was like an okay documentary. It was I have known about the case before, so this documentary didn't really give me any new information, but it was like a good refresher because I kind of like forgot some things though. Not gonna lie, it's just like still amazes me how someone can just like vanish. But I saw an article titled that tighter. I saw a article title recently that apparently from the documentary, like there have been a lot of new leads. I think the main like thing is people think she either like was killed by a crew member and like they just kind of dumped her body, or that she was into sex, or she got sold into sex trafficking. So I don't know, who knows what it could be, but it's definitely an interesting story. And then I finished the show Sirens. When I tell you guys that show it was definitely something. It is a quick watch because it's only like 5 episodes, I think. But it's like for as much like build up to the end, it's very like the whole message of the story is like this could have been a movie, or they could have leaned into like other elements of the plot to make it more like enticing and more like exciting. But I don't know, it's just one of those where I was like, I kind of want to stop watching because this is like kind of stupid, but I have to know how the show ends, and the ending was not worth it.
You know, I think you just convinced me to take that off of my list, so I appreciate you. And for me, I have finished two shows. I know you guys heard that right. I actually finished some shows this week. I was in my watching era, but I finished Squid Games, and the ending definitely caught me a little bit by surprise. And I swear the season two kind of did, because why was episode two of this new season already like three of my favorite characters were dead? I was like, what? We got one death, right? And then 15 minutes later, another death. I've jaw dropped. I was like, what is going on with this show? We still have like 6 episodes to go, and two of my favorite characters are already dead. But the ending, I guess it like came full circle within. I still have a couple questions. But it does, from the ending, it is like the last season. I don't think it's going to continue. I could see them continuing it in some sort of spin-off from this, from the way it ended, but I don't think that they will. But yeah, that's my thoughts. Done with Squid Games. And then I also watched, and we're going to need to talk about this one. I watched the Hunting Wives TV show. And before I give into spoilers, I'll give y'all like my quick synopsis. That show is actually insane. If it doesn't get a season two, that's actually crazy. And then my third comment is, it's always the most like conservative people that are the freakiest people on this side behind closed doors. Because why was every single one of these characters like super like Republican, super conservative, like super straight type, and they were doing some freaky stuff behind closed doors. Yeah, that's my like spoiler free. And now, I'm gonna go ahead and get into a little bit of spoilers, so skip ahead to our Summer I Turned Pretty deep dive if you don't want to hear spoilers. I do recommend you watch though. Okay. Yeah, Sophie was pissing me off. I could not stand her. Every single time she was like, I was like, okay, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. She's going to improve. She's going to do better. No, hence the ending. Because no way she just ran over that bear. I know Teslas go fast. She could have sped away and been perfectly fine. And then the whole plot twist with just Abby and everything. Yeah, that was all crazy too. I know me and Kennedy, when we first started watching, I and Kennedy, we both thought that it was Sophie that was dead, and then it turned out it was Abby. Yeah, that was a whole plot twist. Then the whole plot twist within plot twist, and yeah, I was like, never saw anything coming. I don't know if you have anything to add, Kennedy.
Yeah, I think first, I think the show does a really good job of just kind of reflecting how really conservatives are nowadays and just a good idea of like how stupid they sound and like how much of hypocrites they are. Like, for example, they were talking about how like the solution to fighting immigration and these illegal criminals or whatever is basically getting more guns in our hands to battle the guns that they have. Like, what sense does that make? And then also, we all know Pastor Pete, that creepazoid. The whole time, the Republican conservative party is pushing that these illegal immigrants are criminals from Mexico. They're kidnapping our girls. Because if you guys remember Casey, whole time it's the freaking pastor boy who is the real enemy to the community to the community, and that's the real tea, and that's the real tea.
Clock it. No, because Pastor P, I was like, what is this? He did give me like kind of like creepy vibes, but kind of like emo creepy vibes at first. But then when he started talking more with Abby, I was like, okay, yeah, this man a pedo. And then we got to see more. I was like, that is crazy. He's this level of pedo. I thought he was just like, like pedo more superficial, but not like that kind of crazy level. Yeah, I was like, I swear, every single character had like something that had my jaw drop. The only character that didn't have my jaw drop, I think, was Graham, the husband. He was like pretty like normal, but everybody else, I was like, whenever their dirty laundry came out into the open, yeah, I never saw it coming, whatever. And yeah, I was truly baffled at many things in that show.
Yeah, I think Graham was honestly the most level-headed person, and honestly, the show should be called instead of the hunting wives, it should be called Sophie making bad decisions. Like, that's generally what this whole show was. Like, let's just say sis did everything but go to the police. And I told Liz, like, as soon as they thought like I was the person who murdered Abby, I would have been in there singing like a canary, be like, oh, Margot's sleeping with high schoolers, they're
That
doing this and
part.
that, like expose them.
No, literally. And like, it really could have all been avoided if she would have gone to the police from the beginning and literally said everything. Like, would she have looked bad? Maybe. But she's like a whole, like, she's not even from there. Like, these people already don't like you. They already think that you're, like, pretentious and everything. You might as well expose them, especially when they were using you, because I truly don't understand how, like, she believed that Margot and her could end up together when she would have been the mistress of Margot at the end of the day. Like, and probably would have gone to some freaky stuff with her and Margot's husband. Also, oh, real quick, the part where we find out like how Margot and like her husband Jed met, yeah, that was actually wild.
The cycle just continues. And it's just crazy that Sophie was so like down bad for Margot. Mind you, she has a husband and a kid. You're gonna throw all that away over someone you would never be able to like date, like for real, for real? Like, come on now.
Exactly. And especially someone who like is obviously not emotionally available as they're hooking up with you, their husband, and the high schoolers. Let's not forget about him.
And someone who threw her under the bus to the police. Like, what?
No, and the way she did it not once, but she did it like multiple times throughout, just like making little comments like, "Oh, like she sounds crazy on this phone call." Girl, keep it to yourself. I thought that's your girl.
No, exactly. Just one little note about the end. It's just like, okay, so like Sophie, like the stuff, like, they like framed Jill for the murder, even though it was actually Margot. And I'm just like, okay, Sophie, you're off the hook. Perfect time. And then she kills Margot's brother. Well, all she had to do was reverse, do a little reverse, and move. Put that foot on the gas pedal. But no, she decided death was the answer and to hide his body. And mind you, fingerprints everywhere.
And the way she drops it down the river, we all know that the bodies always float up. They always do. Like, oh my, yeah, yeah. And then watch there be like tire tracks and stuff all over him. Watch her headlights be broken. Oh yeah. I hope her husband takes the kid to Boston.
What you said. And then I also forgot to mention earlier when I was talking about what I watched, I also started a Stranger Things rewatch. It's that time, you guys. Trying to catch up or trying to finish it all up before the new episodes come out during the holiday season.
And that's my cue to start my rewatch too. And now we're gonna get into our Summer I Turned Pretty little segment, our honorary what we're watching segment, because you guys, I made sure because I wasn't caught up and I told Kennedy, I was like, let me finish this episode so I can talk about it before we record. And trust, I finished because episode 5, it was for the Conrad girlies.
No, for real. It was my favorite episode of the season. You want to know why? Because it was all in Conrad's POV, and so we didn't see any of Jeremiah. Well, we did, but barely. And that made me very happy.
And I will say, I wish we had more of Conrad's thoughts. I feel like it was like very scattered here and there, but overall, you know, we finally got some closure on some stuff. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and deep dive into everything we have to say, all of our thoughts for this episode.
Yeah, so my first thought when watching this episode, the first thing I thought, oh, I need to write this down so I can talk about it. My note says, not the cake being the hill Jared is dying on. He wants that cacao 80%, I don't even know, so bad when they're literally broke. Like, sir, like, not this. And he was like, we each have our one thing. This is my one thing. Okay, but is it worth it when it's going to put y'all in more debt than you already are? You got to pay your father back $20K, and then you down bad for Belly's $7 or 7-cent ring, and now you want to go in any more debt because of the cake. Like, what?
No, and the way for me, what was crazy about that is it's a cake. It's not even like a little wedding memento. It's not like it was the flowers. You can like press them, keep them for forever. It's a cake that once you eat it, it is gone. You are not seeing that $750 cake again. Like I just don't understand. You know, it makes sense. He wanted her to eat ramen for the rest of her life.
No facts.
And then on the cake thing, my comment about it too was also he's willing to go in debt for a cake. He's willing to pay it off later for a cake. Yeah, that was a crazy statement. We'll just put it on the card.
Yeah, he was crazy for that. That's all, honestly, I really have to say about Jeremiah in this whole episode, honestly, because we didn't see him a lot. Yay! My next note was Cherry is sick. It was when Conrad and Belly, they were like in the car doing the wedding errands, which is like low-key kind of sick. Like, imagine your ex taking you along with you while shopping for their wedding. That is actually diabolical. But the song Cherry started playing. I was like, oh, they are sick for this.
No, because I wrote in all caps, shut the fuck up, Harry, in the background. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that they did this because all the girls are like, Harry is Conrad. Like every single Harry song, all the depression, all the like just not doing good, that is Conrad. And that is exactly what we got this episode. Like Conrad is not doing good with this. And then just that scene, it was perfection with the song in the background.
No, heavy on Conrad, like he is Harry's songs embodied. I've always said his song is Matilda.
And then my comment about like the whole like car stuff was just Belly just hopping into Conrad's car in the driver's seat like it's her car. Yeah, that I was like, now Conrad needs to put in her place. I know he won't because he's too good, but not her just like, oh, I'll drive. Girl, this isn't your car. Also, it's not like it's like any other, like just any car. It's a whole Range Rover. The way she just hopped on in, no, Belly, know your place.
No, like she's actually dead. I would have been like, girl, you go and sit in the passenger seat.
Exactly. But you know Conrad. He can't say no to her.
And then I think shortly after that was it the Peaches scene?
Yep, the Peaches.
Yeah. Jenny Han, you ate with that one. Also, this was an episode that Jenny Han directed, and we can tell because it ate. Yeah, the Peaches scene, like, and just like seeing how Conrad sees Belly through his point of view, like, yes, they're in game. That's his wife. That's his soulmate. It was just so good.
No, because at first I was like, what are we wasting valuable screen time on this Peach? And then I saw why. I saw why because we were seeing how Conrad sees her. Mm-hmm.
Yep. I was gonna say, wait, is this when the freaky scene happened? But I think that was later.
Yeah, that was later on. Because if it did, it would be her cheating.
Clock it. Oh, also the Peaches scene, what had me shook was when Conrad took his shirt and wiped off the juice from her mouth with it. Wow, you're crazy for that. You're actually crazy for that. When that is your brother's fiance. And I was like, I was geeking. I can't even lie.
No, because that did it for me too. I also thought where he was like, let's try it or whatever. I thought he was about to, forget about his allergy and eat the peach. That's what I thought was going to happen. I was like, oh my gosh, there is no way this man is literally putting his health at risk for her to be like, yeah, it didn't go all that way, but I really thought that he was about to bite into it.
Same, because like especially in the flashback, it just shows that like Conrad, like he can't say no to Belly. Like he folds easily, and I thought he was going to in that minute. And then honestly, my hope, like the rest of my notes, I just said like they are so domestic I could cry. Like when they got back home later and they were just like cooking, and then they had wine together, and that's when we saw them. Or well, they didn't get freaky like in the present time, but he had a flashback, and I was like, oh. Which, first of all, I was like, oh, the summer I turned pretty. I didn't know y'all were like getting mature like that. Because the rating is 16 plus, and I did see the warning for like, oh, like sexual content. But I was like, oh, it's probably just gonna show them, kissing, whatever. And it's gonna like fade to black. And then it never faded to black, and I was like, oh, this is what y'all doing.
Yeah, I also did not expect all of that. At first, I was like a little confused, and I was like, "Wait, is this present time?" But then I like realized he was like, "Oh, like the last time we were together, or whatever." Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know. I just love seeing them together. Well, duh, because I'm Team Conrad. And then my only other note was this is a maybe not necessarily a hot take, but people have differing opinions. And that is, I don't want Denise and Steven to be a thing. Because I do not like Denise.
And my opinion is I low key like them together. Denise grew on me this episode. Like I feel like before we only see her like in Kennedy's face. We only see her like in the workforce setting, And like I've never seen her with her hair down or anything. Like she's like pretty and everything. And the way I loved her little like gold jewelry and everything. I think I just like her vibe. And then honestly, I think that her I was gonna say her and Denise. I think that her and Steven, like, they just have like things in common, and I feel like they're just now. I can't Kennedy's face. I feel like they have things in common that they're just now like really like exploring and everything. And I don't know, Taylor. I just don't really like her character. Like, but I'll put aside her red flags as a friend. But I just feel like we haven't seen Taylor and Steven like talk at all much. Like I feel like all we saw them do was like hooking up and stuff or like arguing, but we never saw them have like, oh, like what are our interests? Like they have these things in common. So just from that, I feel like we've seen more of like Steven and Denise like just chemistry kind of. I don't know. And I know I have a feeling that Steven is going to end up with Taylor and everything. But I really hope that the Denise thing in him is like a little, they keep on teasing it a little bit longer.
If they do, I will stop watching the show. No, I'm just playing. I will say Denise, she was tolerable when they were like playing games and like they weren't really talking. When they were playing the games, and she was silent, but she was a little bit more tolerable. We got to see more of her personality. But I just like female characters when they're just like mean all the time, and like I understand why, because it's like she's in a male dominant space, she's trying to assert dominance, but at a certain point, it's like, girl, you can chill a little bit. But I am a little scared for her though, because when Jeremiah found the mistakes, and the dad was like, "Oh, Denise should have caught that." I was like, "Ooh, Denise, don't get in trouble."
No, that was my reaction too. I was like, bro, why did he go to the dad? But then I guess it worked out for Jeremiah. But I'm like, watch Denise be fired this next episode. She's gonna come back from her job and she's gonna be fired.
No, for real. But then like low-key, I see some theories where people think that it's really like Adam who's like embezzling, and like Jeremiah caught it, so he had to like play it off. But I don't really know how true that is, because it was the other company they want to do business with, so I don't understand. But that's just a theory I saw on TikTok.
I could see that happening, but then I feel like that would take attention. And if it does happen, I would be mad, because I'm like, why are we wasting time on this when our focus should be Conrad and Belly right now? They grew on me this episode, because the previous episode I left being Team Jeremiah, in the sense that they deserve each other. They're both so immature. But on this new episode, they kind of grew back on me again. But my biggest thing is Belly, I feel like, is just not mature, because she's like making all these, this was my last comment, was she's making all these decisions, and she's like obviously super stressed out in a very like bad way. Like it's not like butterfly stressed out or whatever. It's like everything is not going how she needs it to go. And she still doesn't understand like the root cause of it is you're not supposed to be getting married to this man already. Yeah, that's what like frustrates me with Belly. But with all the stuff she got going on, I guess it can be understandable. But at the same time, I'm just like, Belly, open your eyes, please.
No, that's valid because it's like at a certain point, I just would have been like, none of this is worth it. Like, my mom not being there, the wedding just shop with me. We are all having to plan for the wedding, and just like the stress of how things are expensive when she's out with Connor. I just would have been like, you know what, forget it. We're not getting married. Like, we'll save it for the future. If Jeremiah is really the one for Belly, they will wait.
That part, like, there is no rush to get married right now. Y'all can be engaged for a bit and then get married.
Exactly.
And I think those are all of the end of our little recap, all of our thoughts, and we'll definitely see what happens this upcoming Wednesday, and we'll give you guys a deep dive for next week.
Exactly that. I'm really excited. And then now we're just going to do our song of the week real quick. So mine is We Both Reach for the Gun from the musical Chicago. That's my favorite song from that musical, and I'll just play a part of it for you guys. And just like the whole production of like at least that scene when I saw it in the actual like musical in person, it's just so good. And I need to watch the movie ASAP.
And then my song of the week is Niall Horn, This Town. This song popped up on my For You page too, and like it was a background song for 10 Things I Hate About You, the scene where she's like saying her 10 things. And I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot about how good that song is. And also, that song is perfect for this scene. So I've been listening to it this week. And here's my favorite part for you guys. And I want to tell you everything, words I never got to see. I just love his vocals in that song, and it is perfection, immaculate, chef's kiss.
We love Niall Horn over here.
And without further ado, I'll let Kennedy take it away on her little her little interview. Look at her being all mischievous over there.
Yes, it is now time for me to interview Elizabeth. We're going to act like, you know, she's a famous person, and I'm interviewing her to talk about her come up before she got famous. JK, but really, I'm just going to ask Elizabeth some questions about her study abroad experience. Hopefully, we can get like a good, you know, overview of it without like, you know, yapping too much. But the way I'm going to frame this part of the episode, we're just going to get into like the intro bits of her study abroad, like why she chose Spain, those type of things, some fun stories, the realities of study abroad, any advice for people who are going to be studying abroad soon or want to, but you know, they're looking into it, and then just some quick rapid fire questions. So shout out chat for helping me. But yeah, we'll just get into it right away. So Liz, just tell us essentially why Spain, why you chose to do your program the way you did it, versus like other programs.
So I did Spain because when I went abroad, I was doing classes for my minor, which is Spanish. I already finished all of my like major classes and everything. So, and I hadn't done any of my minor classes. And the like requirement, because I had tested out of previous Spanish classes, was that they had to be classes taught in Spanish. It could be any class, it just had to be taught in Spanish. So I was like, it's going to be easiest to just go obviously to like a Spanish speaking country. So then that narrowed down my list a lot. And then from there, I did Spain because I wanted to be able to like country hop in Europe. If I didn't do Spain, then it would be somewhere in South America. And while you can like travel and everything, it's not like as like cheap as Europe country hopping is and everything. And I just kind of wanted to like I don't know. I feel like you always see people going to like Europe and everything. So I wanted to do that. So that's why I specifically chose Spain. And then I did the program that I did was a program that is in Kentucky for like Kentucky schools. And it is a semester long program. I didn't want to do well, I mean, I was like open to anything, but my advisor was like, you might as well just go do like a semester abroad so you can do like all your classes and everything, and you can like do abroad too. So then that's why I did like the semester, because I was like, might as well just, you know, go the whole time. And then from there, it was really easy. The program only had like one option, which was in the city was called Alicante. in Spain. And then yeah, that's how I like chose the program and everything.
And then how was your housing and school situation set up?
Ignore that. I accidentally turned on my lamp. But my housing, so we had the option of doing the dorms or you could do a homestay. I know some programs they do like apartments and you have to like find it on your own, but mine was like pretty easy. It was either choose do you want to be in the dorms, and then the dorms didn't include meals, and then the homestays included the meals. So that was like one of the main reasons I chose the homestay was because I was like, okay, I won't have to worry about like food and all that kind of stuff. And me and my mom, we did like the price difference, and it honestly like wasn't much because it's like you're getting fed 3 times a day and everything. And also, I feel like I've heard a lot of people say that a homestay you get like the full experience because you're like with a family, and it was kind of nerve-wracking like choosing which one, because I was like, what if everybody in the program is doing the dorms and I'm the only one doing the homestay? But it ended up working out because I think everybody but 2 people did the homestay option, and I got like super lucky, and I got the best like home host mom I could have asked for. She's like a little old lady, she's a widow. And then it was actually a complete coincidence, but I ended up having a roommate from our program. I didn't know her or anything, like we met there, but that was nice to have a roommate because a lot of people it was just like them and then like the family, or they had families like where there was kids or like pets and stuff like that. But it was just me, my roommate, but like more like hallmate because we had our own rooms and everything. And then our host mom, and then the university. So for us, the university, you like class wise, you could choose to do. They had like their language office, and then you could choose to do classes like just through them, or you could also like register for some of like the university classes with like university students. All the classes I did was through like the language office. So that was super easy because it was a lot of just like international students. And I know one thing that I 100% did not regret is doing that, because a lot of people who did university classes, they had to like take their finals early because the semester ends different there compared to like when we came back. So yeah. And then the university was located, so like it's the center of the town, and then like 20 minute, not, it was like a 10-minute drive, but like with public transportation it was like 30 minutes. You would take like the bus or the metro to the university, and the university was just like all the university. It wasn't like mixed in the city or anything.
Now, when you landed in Spain, what were your first impressions and know any cultural differences that you noticed right away?
So like literally when I landed first in Madrid, and then from Madrid I had to take a train to not train. I flew to Alicante, and like literally first steps into Madrid, it was like really really early in the morning. And then also I had to like run to catch my other flight kind of. Luckily the girl that was sitting beside me, I was like talking to her, and she actually was going to Alicante, so I kind of was just I just kind of tagged along with her. But she's one of those like people who does like teaching at the schools and everything, and this it had been like her second year doing it or something like that, so she kind of like knew like how to manage her way through the airport. And I'm so glad I was with her, because if not, I do think I would have missed my flight. Because just like going through customs, we had to like we had to ask if we could go through like a fast line, because like our plane was literally like about to board and everything. But luckily we made it and everything was great. And then when I made it like to the town that I was in, my big check bag didn't make it. So I was without clothes for like a couple days and everything, because in my carry-on I literally just had all my shoes and maybe like 2 pairs of pants. So like literally when I first got there I was like struggling. But then like once I adjusted everything, it was like all good. I ended up getting my bag and everything. And then just like some of the cultural differences I would say was definitely the pace of life. Like everything is just so much more like relaxed there, you know? Like you see everybody's like walking around the streets, like they're all smiling, they're all like looking happy and everything. And then just like with that, people are like out late. Like they are like you will see restaurants open at like 11 midnight, and it's not like people like partying. Like yes there is maybe some people partying, but it's just people having dinner, like little. And it's not like young people, it's like families. Like you'll see old people, like your grandparents are like out there, you know, just like drinking a glass of wine, chatting along. The kids are running around, and it's like midnight. And in the US, at least where we're from, you do not see that. There's nobody out at midnight. So that was definitely like a big like shock, but in a really positive way. And then another shock was just like the scheduling too with that. So like they'll eat later in the day. Like their lunch will be at like 2 p.m. Their dinner will be at like 10 p.m. So that kind of stuff. I didn't really have any like negative culture shocks, but I think also what helps is because it is like a Spanish speaking country, some of like their customs and like traditions are similar to things that I've grown up with like at home in a Spanish speaking household. So I think that played a fact into like I didn't really have like huge shock, you know. But the shock that I did have was honestly positive. Just like the pace of life is so much but nicer.
America, let's adopt that, please.
Yeah, let's speak it into existence. Let's adopt like ASAP too.
Or maybe we'll just marry European guys so we can just, marry into that lifestyle.
No, yeah, we just gotta find them, Katie.
We will. I'm putting it out there. But now we're gonna get into some, fun little stories. So, is there any like funny travel mishaps that have happened?
One thing I got caught by the bag people. I had to pay for a check for like my carry-on thing. I was like so over it. It was so early in the morning, and then they were getting every single person in that line. I was like, okay, whatever, I'll just pay for it. And what sucked was it was like one of like my almost like towards the end of my travels. Like I had made it so far in the semester, and then they got me at the end. That was like a little travel mishap. They did catch me one time. I had to pay for my bag. It was more expensive than my flight was, but it's okay. And then other than my like spring break, me and my friend we did like kind of like backpacking, and we had like a couple like overnight buses where we were like, well, we can just like travel overnight and like not pay for like a hotel or something or like a hostel or something. So we did like sleep in a bus. We started off our like spring break trip actually sleeping in the airport. Did not recommend that. We did not really sleep that day. Yeah, we did have like those type of things. I didn't have anything like crazy happen to me. I did have a friend that they were like at a beach or something, and they got invited like the Italian Navy. Yeah, the Italian Navy was like out there, and they were like, they were like outside tanning or something, and then they like these guys come up and they're like, oh, like we have a party tonight on our ship, and so they're kind of like sus about it, but they like show, and it was like actually like they were all like in their Navy outfits. It was like those ships with like the sails and all that kind of stuff. That didn't happen to me though. I didn't have that experience, I wish, but yeah, and I didn't have nothing like insane happen to me,
Nah, I can't even lie. I probably would have showed up to that party too. Even though I'm up here, even though I'm like, that sucks, but just for the plot, you just gotta see what's tea.
Exactly. I mean, worst thing, the ship takes off and you just jump off. Nothing,
Well, I don't know about that part.
but nothing happens. So do it for the plot.
Exactly. And next, do you think, can you recall any beautiful moments you had?
Honestly, just all of like my like trips that I did and just like being in the city that I was too. Just like walking outside after classes and being like, dang, like this is real. Like I'm living here. Like I'm not like just like a visitor. Like this is actually like where I'm at. It was very like surreal because the city where I was at, it was literally on the Mediterranean coast. So like my walks, the ocean would literally just be beside me. People would just be chilling at the beach. There'd be like a pier, like that kind of stuff was really like surreal. And honestly, I do not regret at all the city that I was in. I like 100% recommend it. I loved it. I will be back to that city at some point in my life. And then just all the trips that I did, I traveled with like other people. I really got to like I went there not knowing a single soul, and I left with like some really close friends and everything. Just like sharing those moments and those experiences and having like someone like literally to laugh with through all that was like really, really nice. Yeah, like a specific memory. There was one of our trips, it was the south of France. We got like a little Airbnb and just like cooking dinner, and then we were watching like Monte Carlo on the TV, like that kind of vibe. That was just like really nice.
Um, Kelsey, you see, she's doing things that she does with us with other people.
And next question.
No, I had to shout out Kelsey because I know she'll be watching. And then Next is, do you have any funny cultural misunderstandings that happen?
Not like crazy, nothing like specific that comes to mind. I did have like for me, because I do speak Spanish, but my thing was there are words that like I use that they don't use or that they use and I don't use, and I'd be like, huh? Like one of like the vivid things I can think of is like I grew up like when someone, if your mom or someone like calls you, you don't say what. Like in Spanish, that'd be like, "Que?" Like that sounds like rude. Like mom would be like, "Who are you saying what to?" Like you have some respect. And so like I always grew up saying it's in Spanish it's called you say mande, which is like it's the same thing as what, it's just like a more like respectful way of saying it, you know? So like whenever someone would say something, I'd be like, oh, if I like didn't hear it or if I need to like, like what would you say? I would say mande. They don't use that word over there. So sometimes they would look at me or like they'd be like, oh, like where are you from? Because you like where do you're from somewhere else. Like that kind of thing. So it was mostly like things like that with like words would be used different or like that kind of thing. But it wasn't anything crazy, at least not that I can like specifically think of.
I don't know, something about that is just so interesting to me. Like just like the physics of language. That's just not the right word to use, but like I don't know, that's just like so interesting to me how you can like two countries can both speak Spanish, but like because they're in different regions, it's different people, like Europeans and all that stuff. It's just like there are obviously going to be differences.
Yes, and especially when you think about it, because like you both started speaking the same language, but then how did you evolve to that? Yeah, like the linguistic part of it is kind of cool. And then I did think of one like cultural like difference or something, or like shock or whatever, was they have like a word for like when you're like at a restaurant and you're eating and like you stay like longer, like you're done eating but you're still there and talking. They call it sobremesa, so it's like literally translated, it's over table, but it's very normal there for like you to finish eating and for you to stay like 2 hours later and you're still like talking. Because I feel like in the US, they would like be coming with the check, they'd be looking for the check. They're like, oh, no rush, but like here's the check. Or like, do you need any, like retiring like all your plates? Like, yeah, I like worked in a restaurant. Like, yeah, I know that's like normal, but like there, that's not normal. Like they will like, you will sit, they don't bring you the bill. You ask them for the bill. So that was like one thing like it took some getting used to.
And then next is, what is a unexpected favorite country you had and a country that underwhelmed you?
An unexpected favorite country, or like one that like really stood out to me, I think would be Prague. Prague ended up being my favorite like city that I visited. I absolutely loved that city. I like when I went into it, I didn't have like, all I knew was that they have like the astronomical clock where like every hour, like the little people come out and like it moves and it's like all intricate. Yeah, I just knew that about it. I knew nothing else about this city, but I ended up leaving with it being like one of my favorites. It was my favorite city that I visited, besides like the city where I lived. But it wasn't anything like specifically crazy about it. It was just like very, all of it was so cohesive. We like went to like this like beer garden where it had like a view of the whole city. It was just like such a pretty city to be in and like walk around. I absolutely loved Prague. So that's one that I was like surprised by. Like when I went into it, I just knew like everybody visited there. And when my mom was abroad, she told me that was her favorite city. So I was like, okay, like I gotta go see what this is about. But I didn't know anything about it. But I definitely left like, wow, like that was really, really cool. And then a city that like underwhelmed me would be, I would say, Berlin, Germany. I feel like just because it was like very like city, like US city, like very like modern kind of, Although it did have like obviously like we did like a bike tour there, which is really cool. Like it was modern, but at the same time like bikes everywhere, people biking, like that kind of stuff. But I didn't leave like, oh my gosh, like that was amazing. But it underwhelmed me in the sense of like the just like the modernness to it and how like modern everything was, because I'd been used to like cities that are like a little back, or not back, but like still have pieces from like the past and everything. And Berlin, don't get me wrong, it has a lot. I think the cool part about Berlin was more the history, but like in physical, I was like it's just like, like a city.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about Prague, so that is definitely on my bucket list one day.
Our bucket list together, KT.
Period, our bucket list. And then the last little question for like the little story time aspect is, what is the best and worst food or drinks that you had during your time abroad?
Best, I would say one of the best things I had was in Croatia. We had this thing. It's called, what was it? I think it was called like strukal. I think it's like strukal. I think it's spelled Strukl, and it's basically this like kind of like casserole thing, but it was like warm and like cheesy. It had like, I don't know if it was like cottage cheese, but it was like doughy too. So it was like doughy but cheesy, and they had it in sweet and savory. And we went twice. We went like back to back. So we got, me and my friend, and we shared both nights a sweet and a savory one. And the sweet ones we got was like a blueberry one, and then we got one that was like apple cinnamon. And it was like doughy but like cheesy. It was really really good. And then a savory one that we got was this like, it had like roasted peppers and cheese. It was fire. It was so good. And it was like nice and warm. Also, it was like that day was really rainy. So it just like tied it all together. It was really good. And then another, I'm trying to think of like a drink. Oh, in Spain where I was at, there's like the drink to get. It's not sangria, but it's called Tinto de Verano, and it's similar to sangria kind of. So that was really good. Also, just like all of the prices of the drinks in Spain was actually crazy because you'd like pay. I swear it would be like €3. In here, you're paying $10 for like a glass of wine or something like that. But yeah, and then unexpected. I kind of started drinking beer when I was abroad. Yeah, because it'd be sometimes I'd be like, okay, like you have to like get something to drink, right? And beer was just always like the cheapest thing. So I'd be like, okay. And then I just kind of like started enjoying it some more. So kind of like that happened. And then I'm trying to think of like another favorite. Oh, all of my host mom's cooking, immaculate. I did not starve. My parents were like very worried about like what I would be eating and like if I would be eating and stuff. Yeah, no, they didn't need to worry about it. I was getting fattened up over there. Like it was so good. Like I truly, truly lucked out. And then some of my like least favorite things. Trying to think. I feel like I didn't eat anything that I was like, I can't eat this. Like I need to like that's gross. Yeah, I'm like really thinking hard. Yeah. Oh, one of my favorites, the Moroccan tea, very, very fire.
Everything Liz is list. I'm just like, ooh, that sounds so good. Well, I'm like, ooh, sounds like I need to take a trip to all these places and just go for the food.
No, because my camera roll, trust, it was always food eats first. Even if those pictures weren't going anywhere, I have them in my camera.
No, like our whole friend group, we're just such big foodies, like it's insane. But yeah, next we're gonna kind of
Oh,
get.
really
Oh,
quick. There was this in Spain. There's this. It was called like I don't even know how you pronounce it. It was spelled like double Loa double Lo. I think it was like yao yao or because the double L makes a different sound in Spanish. Yeah, I don't know what it was called. I don't know how you say it, but it's basically this like froyo, but it was so good, Kennedy, because it wasn't like your froyo here where like you go and like you serve it, like they serve it for you, but the yogurt is like regular, it's all plain yogurt, okay? But it's not even vanilla because it didn't taste like vanilla. It's just, I guess, like very like real yogurt. It's the real deal, not no artificial stuff in this. But you would add like toppings to it, and the toppings is what would like add the flavor. And it was so fire. I got one. It was like a Biscoff cookie one. There was one that was like kook. Oh my gosh, that was kiwi. It was like kiwi and like pistachio. It was so good because the yogurt itself was the same, but the toppings is what made it.
let's bring back froyo. I feel like there used to be froyo everywhere here in the United States, but like now there's not really any, except for like orange leaf, I guess. But bring back froyo.
We need to start it.
Business idea. And now we're gonna get into kind of like the realities of study abroad. So, did you deal with like any homesickness, any loneliness ever?
I did feel homesick at some points, especially I feel like I felt it most when I first got there. Like that first month, it just like adjusting and just like being in a different place. I felt like the homesickness in the sense of like my people weren't there. Like I'm the one that left, but all my people were like back home. I also sometimes low key felt like a little bit FOMO sometimes because it'd be like your people are still like living their life. Like they're still doing their thing. Like your friends are still getting together. Your family's still doing this, but you like the person abroad is the one that like isn't there. So like that's what felt weird, kind of. And just like coming back to like, okay, like these people's lives have kept on going. I was the one that was like out of it. And you can't like you don't hold resentment towards that or anything, because like obviously y'all ain't gonna stop living your life. But yeah, I did feel homesick. I would say I felt it, like I said, the first month definitely the most. Like the second week, I was like, did I make the right choice? But yeah, you like slowly, as you're like adjusting and everything, you kind of like it goes away and everything. And then when I was leaving, I did feel like not even homesick, but I was like, I'm gonna miss this. Like, no way, like this is over. Like, this isn't gonna be my room anymore. Like, this isn't gonna be like where I go to the bathroom, like my routine and everything. Like, that felt so weird. And on my way back, like to the US, we took a train from our city into Madrid. And that train ride, me and my like roommate were just like, no way. Like, we would just like look at each other and be like, this isn't real. Like, what do you mean we're not going back there? Because every single like weekend, I would be used to like traveling, but I would always go back to the home base. So I feel like I was starting to feel like that like goodbye homesickness, like leaving. And then what was the second part that you asked, or did I answer it all?
Did you feel any loneliness?
Oh, loneliness. I will say I feel like I didn't feel like lonely, but there was times where I was like, dang, like I'm kind of like out here like alone. Like if my friends are all like doing something or like doing their own thing and I was doing my own thing, it's when I was like, dang, like I'm like out here in a whole other world alone. Or I would look at my like Life 360, and I think like that's when Life 360 did like that new feature, like if you're far and you get on it, it like zooms, like you don't even move it, like it zooms by itself. Yeah, mine would like zoom across the ocean and everything, and then when it would get there, it'd be like everybody in like different spots and everything. So that was like when I kind of felt like some loneliness sometimes. And I think for me, whenever I like felt lonely, I would always like FaceTime like my parents or like FaceTime like my family and see what they were doing. And then that's when I'd be like, okay, yeah. Like my last week, I think I was like FaceTiming them a little bit more than often because I was like feeling it and just like the emotions of it all. But definitely did feel it. That's just like normal, I feel.
And I will say, Elizabeth, she really kept in touch a lot throughout her study abroad. Like, I feel like maybe it's because we do have a podcast, so that might have played a part into it. But it's like I was talking to her weekly. Like, I never felt like, even though she was far away, it never felt like she was far away.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like I like would feel it sometimes like when you guys would like hang out, obviously, like do things like that. But like throughout the week, I felt like I was updated on everything. And also I think it's like the time difference wasn't insane. Like it was only 6 hours. So like for most of the time, like we're on different times, but like it's day here and it's day there. So and then we would have like I would say definitely what would help was like scheduling stuff. Like we would schedule like FaceTime calls to like catch up and everything, or like posting on our private stories. I think that's another great way because it's real time catching up and like seeing stuff. Just like those little things definitely made me like feel like I was still there.
And then next, how was it budgeting and just dealing with money during study abroad? Because, stuff ain't free. Did you find it hard to budget, or were you just like, you know what? I'm studying abroad. I don't care. I'm gonna just like.
I feel like I did a little bit of both. Like, I went in, I didn't do like a full on budget of like, okay, I can only spend this much and this much. I would just like, okay, like I would just like tap away, tap away. But at the same time, I was like conscious of like, okay, like I don't need this or like I don't need to like do this. I'm gonna like, I feel like one way that I did it was I didn't eat out much, like meals out much when I was like at home in like the weeks, like the weekdays because I had home at my homestay house. And like whenever like my mom and brother came or like whenever my roommates friends came to visit and they're like, oh, like what do you guys recommend to eat and stuff, we'd be like, I don't know actually. Like I've been to like one restaurant and like other I eat at home. Like I don't eat out. So that was one way like throughout the week I saved money was okay, I'm gonna eat at home like my main meal. I would get like, oh, like I'll get like a little drink, I'll get like a little like something like light to snack between. But I didn't ever really like eat out like full on meals. So that's one way to definitely save money if you're like somewhere where you're getting fed and everything. And then with me, the food was good. So I was like, I'd rather eat at home. And then another way I would just like I wasn't very like, I knew how much money I had in my account and I did see it like slowly, slowly, slowly. But at the same time, I'd be like, I'm spending this money on like experiences and this is like on a once in a lifetime type thing. And truly, like, honestly, when I came back and I like looked at my account, because I didn't like keep a spreadsheet or anything, but when I looked at my account and then I like factored in like how much I traveled, how many places I went, I was like, that's crazy that I did all of that with that amount of money. Like, you think it would have been like crazy tons of money, but honestly, it wasn't. Like, I didn't, like, yes, you do spend a couple thousand, but honestly, it wasn't even like insane. And also, we would budget by like whenever we did our weekend trips, we would base on like when we were going somewhere, based on when the if there was cheap flights. Like, just because it was Valentine's Day weekend, I was not going to Paris. No, I was going somewhere else where there was a cheap flight that weekend, you know? And then hostels, you honestly, you suck it up and you go to them because they weren't even terrible. They honestly weren't awful. I recommend highly just splurging for a female only room. That made it 10 times better. And most of the time, you're not even there. That's how we would justify it sometimes. It'd be like, we're literally going to be out and exploring. So, but yeah, I like definitely justified it by like the amount of things I did for that amount of money is actually insane. Because in the US, I could never.
No, for a 1 weekend away is like $1,000, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, that part is crazy.
And then next, still on kind of like the organizational aspect. How did you balance school and traveling?
So for like me, I had school, but like at the same time, I like didn't have school. I felt like the classes I was taking, I had school. I think from my remembering, oh yeah, I had school like almost every day, but it was like a class every day. It wasn't like a crazy like US schedule or anything like that. And also the content I was taking was nothing compared to like taking major classes. Like these classes were taught in Spanish. There was like some that I took that were like grammar based classes, which weren't anything crazy. And then my other like conversational classes, they would assign homework, but it wasn't anything like you have to write a research paper, like that kind of thing. I did have like a final paper in one of my classes, but it wasn't even, it was like a 2 page, 3 page paper, you know? So it, back compared to like what I had done back home, this wasn't school to me. It was fake school, is what we would call it. Me and my friends would be like, we got fake school. So that was nice. And then definitely I would try to like finish my stuff like throughout the weekdays. So then on the weekend when I was traveling, I didn't have to worry about it. Like if I knew I had something due like on a Monday, I would finish it before. So like when I didn't have to worry about it when I came back from my trip. Another thing that would help is my classes didn't start like the first 2 months I did have like 9 a.m.s, but the rest of it, my class would start like 1 or something. So I could wake up, finish my homework if I didn't finish it, and then I'd be good. Honestly, you would sometimes catch me doing it on the bus to the university. But honestly, like, yeah, it's just because my classes weren't crazy rigorous. I definitely was blessed in that.
Now, I did have some other questions, but I feel like they're not really like relevant anymore. I feel like, we've already probably talked about them. So now we're just going to get into like advice for people looking into studying abroad or will be studying abroad soon. So first, how did you afford it? But not in the sense of like, how much money did you spend, but like what are resources that like study abroad like people can look into to like pay for stuff?
I would definitely say looking at the scholarships that like the study abroad office provides, because at least at like my university, the study abroad office has scholarships that they provide and everything, and most of the time nobody applies to them. So you should definitely apply to them and like do it. Most of the time it's just like basic information and like where are you going, what are you going to gain from this, like that kind of question. And I would like reuse like my answer and like just switch it up a little bit. So that would definitely help a lot. And like I said, most of the time at the universities, like it's not crazy amounts of people that are studying abroad each semester, but they have that money reserved. So it's sitting there. So like you don't lose nothing by applying. Apply, apply, apply. I had like a little spreadsheet before I went where I put like all the ones that I was eligible for and then with the due dates and like the links. And then I went through there and like applied for all of them. And then a lot of them too, like there's like overall just like studying abroad scholarships, but then there's some that are like very, very like niche specific. Like you have to have like these 3 majors or like these 10 majors only apply for it. And you don't even have to be like taking like I don't know, you're an engineering major and you're studying abroad for language or something, you don't have to be taking like engineering classes, but like if you're an engineering major, you automatically qualify. Like there's a lot of scholarships that you can apply for. And then also just like saving up money. Definitely like I did go through some of my savings accounts, but it was sitting there and I was like, I never spend money like this, And then when you are abroad, just like seeing like what you should and what you shouldn't spend money, like don't go on a shopping spree when you're gonna have to buy a whole other suitcase. Like think about like things like that, I would say. The like money and everything. Oh, and then one tip is to get a card that does not have a foreign transaction fee, because a lot of credit cards have foreign transaction fees, and slowly but surely it will add up because it's like a 3% or like something like that. So it's only a couple cents, but if you're doing that for 6 months, that is going to add up. So definitely get a card that like doesn't have a international fee, will save you some money too. And sometimes those cards you get like money back and rewards back. So
So basically, don't be stupid with your money, guys.
yeah, what Katie said.
Yeah. And then next is, what are three things you are glad you did?
One thing I'm glad I did was I just like travel in general. I knocked off so many countries and everything, but also I was smart about it too, I feel like. Just like I said, the if it's a cheaper weekend, why not? But also like look into the lodging there before you book your flights, because sometimes it might be cheap to get there, but like actually staying there might be kind of pricey. So it's like a two in one. And then, but just like all the travel that I did, I will forever be grateful. I visited a total, I think, of like 18 countries when I was abroad. So that was like one of my favorite things that I did. Another thing was, okay, so travel. I'm so glad I also, I gotta think. Oh, two, I'm so glad that I stayed with a host family. That made my experience like immensely better. Like, yes, I was gone on the weekends, but I was there Monday through Fridays, Thursdays, most weeks and everything, and having a place where I felt so comfortable at. And I like host family. I could not, that's like the one thing that I do not regret at all. And I would recommend forever is to do a host family. And while, yes, you might not look out, but you can always, like, if you're not comfortable, like, they will switch you. Like, don't forget you are paying for that bed. And if you're not comfortable there and you have like valid reasons, they will switch you guys. So don't be afraid to speak up. So host family is the second best thing that I did when I was abroad. And the third thing I would say, honestly, just the place where I lived, Alicante, like that was, I visited other parts of Spain, but that was by far my favorite city that I was in Spain. Just, it was just really, really nice. Oh, and with that, like, studying abroad in the spring semester, I think was definitely worth it compared to like the winter, because the winter you get like more cold months, and then the spring, don't get me wrong, like February, January, like it's chilly, but it's not freezing. And then you also get like the summer part of it too. So that was really nice.
And then next, what are three things you would change? If you can't think of three things, that's fine. But just anything that you're like, ooh, I would do this differently next time.
One thing that I would do differently is keeping track of my expenses better. I have a friend who like she went back and she did like a expense chart, and like most of all the trips we did them together and everything. So like I have that, but I feel like in the moment it would have been nice to keep track of that a little bit better. And then another thing that I was like regret, I would say, is, oh, sometimes in like some cities I wish that I would have done like a more experience type thing. Like I did explore, I did like walking tours and that kind of stuff, but sometimes like a little experience, like a little experience activity, that kind of thing. I think that would have been cool more too, or like plan those out a little bit better. Like towards like the second half of the semester, I definitely learned about like experiences and that kind of thing. And like there's this thing called Get Your Guide, and you can find like experiences and things like that to do. So definitely doing experiences in cities is really cool. And I can't think of another one. But now I'm backtracking. I have better answers for the previous question of the best things. One of the things that I did is I kept a like travel journal, and I would journal. I did like sometimes I would like forget and it would take me a little bit to get back to it. But I did a travel journal of everywhere that I went, and it was kind of like junk journaling, and I like wrote and everything in there. I highly, highly recommend that. And then another thing that I did was I got a postcard everywhere, because sometimes like souvenir shopping, like you only have a backpack, so it's kind of hard to figure out. But a postcard you can fit anywhere. So I got a postcard everywhere I went, and on the back of it, I like wrote like a quick note of like what my favorite thing we did, or like something I ate and things like that.
And then last, what would you tell someone who is nervous for studying abroad?
I would say, that like TikTok sound of it's actually Daniel Ricardo, and he's like, enjoy the butterflies, and like that TikTok sound. Honestly, he worded it perfectly. Like truly, like enjoy every single moment of it. Like it will be in the moment. Sometimes you're gonna be like, why did I do this? I'm so lonely. Like I hate this. I want to go back home. All my friends are doing this. Like I wish I was back on campus doing that. But no, because it's truly, truly like traveling in this age when like you don't have like, I mean, you do have responsibility, like you have school, like at the end of the day you are a student, sadly, but like you don't have like anything tying you down. Like you don't have kids, you don't have a partner, you're not married for the most part, like none of that. Like you're truly like independent. And just I feel like there's no better way to like get to know yourself than like traveling and experiencing things and experiencing new cultures and everything, because that just opens up your mind. So honestly, just enjoy every single moment, because it will go by so fast. Like those 6 months or 5 months went by incredibly fast, and I was like, there's no way that it's already time to leave. And yeah, enjoy every single moment, unless he's like enjoy the butterfly, whatever he says. Yeah, that thing.
And Daniel Ricardo, we trust. um, but now to close off this episode, we just have some quick rapid fire questions. So, what was your favorite souvenir that you got?
My favorite souvenir would be my postcards. I got a postcard in almost every single place. Also, if you do the postcard thing, if you see one that you like, just buy it. Don't wait later on, because there's sometimes I'd be like, oh, I'm not too sure about it, or like, and then next thing you know, all the shops are closed and you can't find one. So I mostly got one everywhere, and I went to frame them and everything. So that was like my when I get them all framed, I think that's gonna be like just encompassing my whole study abroad experience.
Next, I think you might have already mentioned it, but we'll just talk about it again. What is your dream place you want to go back to that you visited?
Honestly, like where I stayed in Alicante in Spain, I cannot like I we will go Kennedy and I will show you. But I absolutely loved it. Like just the color, the city, the people, the environment. But then like places that I traveled to that I really, really loved. I would say I would 100% go back to honestly almost everywhere, but like Prague, yeah. I adored.
And then next, what is your best travel hack?
Google Flights, you guys. Google Flights is your best friend. That's where I got like all my stuff. And you can like compare like cuz it'll show you like other airlines and things. And sometimes also go to like the actual like if you're buying on Ryanair, then go to the Ryanair app and then buy it on there. And normally like the price is like the exact same. And then my other hack is Too Good to Go. There's this service where restaurants and like bakeries and stuff will put the things that they're going to throw away at the end of the day. Sometimes they do like the bakeries will do it like midday too, and you can buy like it's a mystery bag that you buy basically, and they just like put stuff in it. And like the bakery ones would be like €3, €2, and you get like a bag of things. Yeah, like the US needs to implement that. And you're helping the environment.
Yeah, I feel like I remember seeing something about that in New York City, but I don't know if that's still a thing. But yeah, that sounds like a really good hack. And then a perfect last question to end off this episode. If you could teleport back to one moment during your experience, what would it be?
I would teleport back to. There's two moments. One, when me and my friend Kara were planning out like our first like weekend trip, a like international trip, and we looked so defeated because we were like, how do people do this? How do they make it seem so easy? Like, how like this is so confusing. Like, how are we gonna get? Because most of the places, the airports would be like further from the city center, so you have to like take a train or a bus or something. We're like, we look so defeated. Like we literally met up like 2 times and we were like, I can't do this. Like, what is this? I would like just teleport to that moment and just like be like, wow. Like you're gonna come so far. You're going to come so far. And honestly, just like in that moment and just seeing like our growth. And then another moment that I would teleport to, and I just blanked. Oh, is just any like of our little like family dinners that we would have with our like host mom, me and my roommate. We would just like talk about the most random stuff, and then she was just like she would be plotting my host mom. She would be like I would text my friends like at Tech Kennedy and everything about some of like her little plots and everything. Like she would crazy imaginations this woman would have. But yeah, any of those moments, because it would always be like just a crazy conversation we would be having. Yeah, those are definitely some moments I would transport to. Oh, one more moment. This is my last one before I just go on a tangent. When I went to Morocco, we did like a little camel thing, and like we stayed in the tents, and at night you could see like all the stars and everything, and we were like just laying there. I swear we lay there for like an hour and a half just looking at the stars, and we were also like slap happy, and just like we were having like the most random crazy conversations. At one point we were like explaining the plot of like Anora to our friends that hadn't watched it, and that was just like wild, to like think back on. Yeah.
Little did you guys know you'll be making a core memory right there.
Literally. And we even had like little inside jokes and everything from that. Mm.
Me, I'm just like this whole conversation. I've just been like living through Elizabeth. Like, oh, this sounds so wonderful. But yeah, those are all the questions I have for Elizabeth. I hope you guys got some good insight. Elizabeth, do you have any lasting words you want to give our audience?
Nothing other than the fact that I really liked doing this episode. It's kind of like really bittersweet though to like think of those like core memories, like you said, that are now have become core memories. And I'm like, now I'm like thinking of like all this other stuff. I'm like, dang, I should have talked about that. I should have mentioned that. But it's really crazy to just like relive it like now. Like that's just crazy. Like that was my life 5 months ago, like 6 months ago, that was my life. And now like it's like completely different, but just like core memories that will forever be there. So definitely recommend that you study abroad if you are interested in it. Go to your study abroad office and literally just talk to them because they will help you resolve it. That's what they're getting paid for, you guys.
Yeah, and I think it was good to do this episode too because like a big chunk of this podcast, like it was you going through study abroad in real time, and we get like little recaps of like your recent travels. So it's like good to have like a good comprehensive like this is everything that happened that stood out, yada yada yada.
No, because that's crazy. Like when I was packing everything, I was like, I have to take the mic. I have to take the podcast mic, and I like wrapped it up in like a shirt because I was like, I feel like this needs to be protected more. What if it like breaks and then like what am I supposed to do? But yeah, crazy to think about.
But with that being said, we have now reached the end of this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, rate the show, leave us a review. It helps us out a lot. And we will see you guys next Wednesday. Bye.
Bye.